हरि ओम। ओम। ओम श्री गणेशाय नमः। ओम श्री हिरण्यगर्भाय नमः। ओम श्री महाविष्णवे नमः। ओम श्री महादेवाय नमः। ओम श्री महादुर्गायै नमः। ओम श्री राम रामाय नमः। ओम श्री सद्गुरवे नमः। ओम सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं। भवानी शङ्करौ वन्दे श्रद्धाविश्वासरूपिणौ याभ्यां विना न पश्यन्ति सिद्धाः स्वान्तस्तमीश्वरम्। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। रामाय रामभद्राय रामचन्द्राय वेधसे रघुनाथाय नाथाय सीतायाः पतये नमः। बुद्धेर्बलं यशोधैर्यं निर्भयत्वमरोगता अजाड्यं वाक्पटुत्वं च हनुमत्स्मरणात् भवेत्। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ नमः शिवाय 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 ॐ नमः शिवाय। नमः पार्वती पतये हर हर महादेव। हरि ओम हरि ओम। So Bhagwan reveals his supreme nature In this chapter, Bhagwan had started this topic in chapter 7. So when we meditate, we have to meditate on our own self as Brahma, so that identity of that Brahma is revealed. So when we see this world, this whole world is pervaded by that Brahma in its unmanifest form. And the entire world with all beings exist in that Brahma. But Brahma is not of the nature of this world. Brahma is Nirgun, Nirakar, Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam. And from the Brahman own standpoint, from the standpoint of that Supreme Reality by itself, there is no world, there are no beings in it. Just as Akash, in Akash the entire Vayu is there. So Vayu is born in Akash, it is sustained by Akash and again merges back into Akash. Akash pervades the Vayu. Entire Vayu exists in Akash. But Akash is not in the Vayu. Akash doesn't change, doesn't move as the Vayu moves. And in that pure Akash, there is no Vayu. So from Bhagwan only this whole world has come into being, and it remains and again goes back into Bhagwan. So there is this cycle of creation, sustenance and dissolution which keeps happening. And when this whole creation happens, that infinite jivas, along with their bodies, are born, they are sustained and again get dissolved. So Bhagwan says that with my very presence, the whole world gets created. Maya adhyakshena prakriti suyate sacharacharam. That in my very presence, the entire my prakriti gives birth to this world, and in my presence itself, everything happens in this world. All the activities and all that is happening in the prakriti of Bhagwan, in the very presence of Bhagwan. So Bhagavad Swarupa is that Brahma, which is our own self. This I am Atma is that Brahma. So recognizing Ishvara and Ishvara's Swarupa, we do all our sadhana and ultimately realize that Brahma is our own self. So Bhagwan says that those who don't understand my nature, my supreme nature, they disregard me, they disrespect me. And that is a big sin. So in the next verse number 11, Bhagwan says, Avajananti mam mudhaha manushim tanumashritam param bhavamajanantaha mama bhuta maheshwaram. Bhagwan says that avajananti mam mudhaha. Mudhaha, foolish people, those who don't have proper understanding. those who don't have the knowledge of Ishvara, those who don't understand, those who have not done proper satsang, have not gained that wisdom, do not know the nature of that Ishvara, they are called Moodha. Moodhaha. So such people, foolish people, avajananti mam. Bhagavan says they disrespect me, they dishonor me, they disregard me. Manushim tanumashritam. Seeing me in a human form, as Bhagavan Krishna here, he is Sakshat, that Ishvara, who has taken that avatar as a human being, as Sri Krishna. In the 4th chapter also Bhagavan has said that controlling my own prakriti, I manifest myself. Ajopi san navyayatma bhutanam ishvaropi san prakritim swam avastabhya sambhavami atmamayaya. So controlling my prakriti, I manifest. Though I am unborn by nature, though I am the Lord of this entire creation, I manifest in a particular form. So Bhagavan has taken this form as Sri Krishna. But many during that time also did not recognize Krishna as that Sakshat Bhagavan. These Kauravas and so many other beings who were there, they did not recognize Bhagavan. They considered him as like any other jiva, because he was expressing through this body, human body. So people considered him as also as a human being, like ordinary being, like every other being. Even Arjuna did not have that full understanding of Bhagavan's glory. He could understand Bhagavan's glory when Bhagavan showed him his Vishwarupa. In the 11th chapter, there is this description of Bhagavan showing Arjuna his Vishwarupa. So in Bhagavan's body itself, Arjuna saw the entire creation, all the Devtas, all the Rishi Munis, so many other creatures, so many lokas, what is happening in the present, what will happen in future, how this war will go on, how all these warriors will die. Everything Arjuna saw in Bhagavan. And then he realized the greatness of Sri Krishna. He understood that Sri Krishna is Sakshat Bhagavan. But many during that time did not understand the glory of Bhagavan. That Param Bhavam Ajanantaha. They did not realize his Param Bhava, his supreme identity, his supreme nature. And what is his supreme nature? Ki Mama Bhuta Maheshwaram. That I am the Lord, I am the Master, I am the controller of this entire creation. I am the master of this entire creation. So not understanding this, many disregarded Bhagavan Sri Krishna. But even now, Bhagavan alone is present in this world. Bhagavan alone is present in each and every being. Bhagavan alone is present in us as our own self. So not recognizing that Bhagavan within ourselves and not recognizing the presence of Bhagwan in all beings around us, and treating everyone as ordinary and as low and impure, we are disregarding that Ishvara alone. If we look at ourselves, though I am appearing in this form, though I am appearing like a human being, but I am that Supreme Brahma. That Brahma alone appears like this body. That Brahma alone is appearing like this world. So keeping that understanding in our heart, we should treat ourselves and we should treat the whole world also with that reverence, with that understanding. Then we will not be disregarding, disrespecting Ishvara. But if we forget the presence of Ishvara in ourselves and in others, then we are disrespecting that Ishvara alone. See, just even symbolically, if you take, for example, the flag of our nation, we understand the value of our flag, we hoist the flag, we salute the flag. But if we disrespect the flag, if we consider the flag as an ordinary cloth and disrespect it, then indirectly we are disrespecting our nation only. Similarly, not recognizing the presence of Ishvara in this world, in all the beings, in ourselves, then we are disrespecting Ishvara alone. Ishvara is the Satchidananda Brahma, Satyam Jnanam Anantam. But not recognizing that Brahma, we seek happiness, we seek peace somewhere else. That also is like disregarding that Brahma. So, avajananti mam moodhaha manushim tanumashritam param bhavam ajanantaha mama bhuta maheshwaram. So the purpose of indicating his supreme nature in the previous so many verses is for us to keep this in our mind. Constantly keep that understanding in our mind, and then interact with people, interact with other beings, and do our work, do our sadhana with that understanding in our heart. That alone makes all our karma, that alone makes all our sadhana complete. If we don't recognize that tattva, Ishvar tattva, and do all our karma, then those karmas become fruitless. Again, when we do puja, for example, we have the idol in front of us, we invoke the presence of Bhagwan, we do avahan, and we do all the upachara, asan, padyam, arghyam and all. And all the time when we are doing this upachara, we have to keep that understanding in our heart that I am worshipping that Bhagwan directly. That understanding should be there. Otherwise, our upachara will become fruitless. There's a very interesting story about a saint in Maharashtra. Sant Namadev Maharaj. A simple person having great devotion for Bhagwan as Panduranga Vithala. Constantly is to remember Bhagwan. As a child, his father used to worship that Bhagwan. He used to go to a temple and do puja of Bhagwan, worship him and offer him naivedya and do all the upachara. And this little boy is to see that Bhagwan, his father is going to the temple regularly and doing puja. So one day the father told his son that I am not feeling well today, so today you go and do the puja. You just, as per your bhava, you worship Bhagwan, but take this food and offer this to Bhagwan. Because every day afternoon I do this puja and offer this naivedya to Bhagwan. So today you go and offer this food to Bhagwan. So Namadev, with that childlike faith, he went to the temple. He took that naivedya. He did whatever puja he knew, and then he offered that naivedya to Bhagwan. That Bhagwan's murti was there, Vithala, Panduranga Vithala. And Namadev Maharaj kept the food in front and he said, okay, now you eat. And he was waiting. Nothing happened. He was worried. He said, Bhagwan, every day my father comes and he does the puja, but today he has sent me, so please come and eat. Bhagwan did not. So he was very angry with Bhagwan. He said, see Bhagwan, this is not proper. You have to come and eat. Otherwise my father will say, I have not done your puja properly. Still Bhagwan did not come. Then he sat there and insisted, and even knocked his head on the floor. He said, you better come and eat. And a great miracle happened. That Bhagwan just manifested from that idol, and he said, please don't worry, I will eat. So ate. And Namadev, he remaining that prasad he took and came home. So his father asked this, what did you do? He said, I did the puja. I offered this naivedya. So father looked at it. He said, why did you eat? He said, I didn't eat. Bhagwan, you said you offered to Bhagwan, so I offered to him. And he came and ate. And when his father heard this, he was very, very amazed and shocked. He said, this simple child with his very deep faith, he one day of his puja, and Bhagwan was so pleased with him. I have been doing puja for so many days, so many years, but I never experienced Bhagwan coming and eating. And for this child, he came and ate. So that faith, because Bhagwan is present, it is not just a theory, it is not just a concept. Bhagwan is present in the whole world. Bhagwan is present in each and every being. Bhagwan is present in our own body, everywhere. So keeping this understanding in our mind, though we may not have realized it, but to keep this understanding of Bhagwan's glory in our heart, keeping this in our heart when we do all our work, then that becomes our upasana. That purifies our mind and that fulfills all our karma. When we do our karma yoga with this understanding, then all our karmas get offered to Ishvara. But if this understanding is not there, then we are disregarding Ishvara. So Bhagwan says in this verse, Ke avajananti mam moodhaha. So the foolish people, having no understanding about me, manushim tanumashritam, thinking me as just an ordinary jiva in a human form, param bhavam ajanantaha, not knowing my supreme nature, that I am that bhuta maheshwaram, I am the Lord of this whole world. So when we don't have this deep understanding of Bhagwan's nature, if we don't keep it in our heart, and when we do all work, then all our work becomes fruitless. Doesn't have that power, doesn't have that potency. That's what Bhagwan says now in the next verse. He says, Moghasha mogha karmanaha mogha jnana vichetasaha rakshasim asurim chaiva prakritim mohinim shritaha. Bhagwan says that not having that deep understanding about my nature, not keeping this understanding in our heart, when we live in this world, our whole life goes in vain only. Bhagwan says, Mogha, Sha, all our asha, means all our desires and expectations, they all are vainful, false, or they all become false when we don't have that deep understanding of Ishvara in our heart. Vrita asha ashisho isham te mogha ashaha. All the ashas are mogha. Mogha, false, vain, fruitless, impotent. Mogha asha, vyartha ki asha. Then generally we have these desires and we want to fulfill them with various karma. Bhagwan says, Mogha karmanaha. All their karmas also becomes mogha, fruitless. Means all their karmas don't lead to the ultimate goal. Their karmas don't purify their mind. Their karmas don't become karma yoga. If that deep understanding and regard is not there in our heart for Ishvara, then our karmas becomes fruitless. Mogha karmanaha. karmas don't have that potential, don't have that power, if we don't have faith in Bhagwan. But if we have that faith and that understanding, then our simple ordinary karma also becomes most powerful. So in Ramayana, just before the war with Ravan, Ramchandraji and all the Vanara Sena had reached Lanka. So Ramchandraji told Angad, son of Sugriva, son of Bali, that you go and talk to the Ravan and try to convince him that please return Sita ji with proper respect and honor, and we will not have this war. So Angad went there with full confidence and faith in Ishvara, with full that love he had for Ishvara. Fearlessly he approached Ravan and he told him that you return Sita ji with proper honor and you will be forgiven by Bhagwan. But Ravan did not listen to him. Ravan was very arrogant. So Angad, with that full faith in Ishvara, with that total love for Ishvara, he just stood there and put his foot firmly on the ground, and he said that anybody who can lift my foot, then we will consider ourselves defeated by you. We will return back. So much confidence and so much faith. And all the Rakshasas who were there, they one by one they tried to lift his foot, but nobody could lift it. Even Meghanad, the great warrior son of Ravan, could not lift the foot. Then Ravan himself came, and Angad said, don't do namaskar to me, go and do namaskar to Sri Ram, he will forgive you. I am giving this example to convey the faith and that power of having that deep understanding of Bhagwan's presence in everything and everyone. But if we don't have that, then all our desires and ambitions and expectations become fruitless. All the karmas become fruitless. They lose their potential. Then mogha jnana, all our knowledge are fruitless, in vain, false. If we don't have that deep understanding of Ishvara and deep regard and faith and love for him, without this, if we have all the knowledge, so much of wisdom about everything in this world, Bhagavan says all that wisdom and all that knowledge is fruitless only, useless, will not help us in any way. Tatakim, what is the use of all this knowledge? Mogha jnanaha, vichetasaha, Bhagavan says they are vichetasaha, they are of devoid of understanding, devoid of viveka. Vigata vivekaha chate bhavanti, devoid of proper wisdom, devoid of understanding. One is that we acquire knowledge and then we use this knowledge efficiently. So whatever they acquire, all their knowledge is fruitless, and the use of that knowledge is also fruitless, because they are devoid of proper wisdom. So such people, Bhagavan says, Rakshasim Asurin Chaiva Prakritim Mohinim Shritaha. They take refuge in Rakshasi, Asuri, Mohini Prakriti. They take refuge in all those values and all those philosophies which are of Rakshasa, of Asuras, which create confusion and delusion in people's mind. Shankaracharya ji writes, Moha Karim Dehatmavadinim. They have philosophy of Dehatmavad, that this body itself they consider as their Atma. Those who don't have understanding of Ishvara, they consider this physical body itself as their own self. Dehatmavadi. They have very poor, low understanding about everything. Their whole life is having that very low aim and ambition. Here Shankaracharya ji writes that their whole life is revolved around looting, cheating, chindi, bhindi, piba, khada, parasvam, apahara, and all indulging in pleasures, khao, pio, take away other people's wealth, take away other people's property, hurt people, be violent, be corrupt, do all sorts of negative activities in this world. Because when Ishvara is not there in our life, then Asuras, they occupy our life. When we drive away Ishvara from our life, then Rakshasas, Asuras, all of them occupy our life. So Mogha Jnana, Moghasha, Mogha Karmanaha, Mogha Jnana Vichetasaha, Rakshasim Asurin Chaiva Mohinim Prakritim Mohinim Shritaha. Therefore, we should understand Bhagavan's nature and keep this understanding all the time in our heart and live in this world. How we should do that? That Bhagavan tells now. How Mahatmas live in this world, that Bhagavan now tells in the next verse. Verse number 13. Mahatmanastu mam partha daivim prakritim ashritaha bhajantyananya manasaha nyatva bhutadim avyayam. Bhagavan says Mahatmanaha. Mahatmanas are those who have a broad mind, broad heart. Those who accept everyone and everything in a proper way. Udara charitanam. Vasudhaiva kutumbakam. The whole Vasudha they consider as their own home. They consider the entire creation as their own family. They have regard for all human beings, animal, birds, plant. They have sincere love and affection towards all creatures. They are called Mahatma, whose Atma is Mahan, whose self is not confined only to in this body, but they consider themselves residing in the heart of all beings. How? Why? Because they have understood the real nature of Ishvara. They understand the presence of Ishvara in everything and everyone. They are called the Mahatmas. So Mahatmanastu mam Partha, he Partha, Mahatma mam Ishvaram bhajanti, they worship me. They worship me means worship that Ishvara. And how do they worship? Daivim prakritim ashritaha, taking refuge in Daivi prakriti, in good qualities. See, developing good qualities itself is the first step in worshipping Ishvara. What qualities? Shama, Dama, Daya, Shraddhadi, Lakshanam. Controlling our mind, having control over our senses, having compassion towards all beings, having that proper faith in Ishvara, in our teacher, in our scriptures. All these great values which are mentioned in our Shastras, when we cultivate those values in our life, then that itself is Bhagwan's worship. To be kind, to be gentle towards all creatures. Bhagwan's worship is not done only by going to temple. Bhagwan's worship is not done only by worshipping the idol, but having due respect and reverence for all creatures properly. He is Bhagwan's worship because he is present in everyone and everything. He is present everywhere. Sant Eknath Maharaj was going towards Rameshwaram, carrying Gangajal in a lota, in a kalasha, to offer it to Bhagwan Shiva. So as he was going on this yatra, on the way he saw a donkey lying down there, thirsty, and all people were carrying this Gangajal. He was also carrying. So when he saw that a donkey thirsty, requiring water, he immediately took that water which he had and gave it to offered it to that donkey. So other yatris, they said, "Oh, you are carrying this Gangajal to do Abhishek of Lord Shiva. Why are you giving it to this donkey?" He said, "Now this donkey requires this water. And Shiva is there in this donkey also, he is there everywhere. So with that bhava in my heart, I am giving this to this creature." So that is the attitude of a great Mahatma. They see the presence of Ishvara not only in an idol in a temple, not only in holy places, but they see his presence in everything and everyone. That is the beauty. So Bhagavan says, Mahatmanastu mam partha daivim prakritim ashritaha, daivi prakriti. See the detail about this daivi prakriti, Bhagavan will mention in the 16th chapter as abhayam sattva samshuddhihi, etc. But daivi prakriti in general is all the good values. So taking support of these good values, one worships that Ishvara, bhajanti ananya manasa, with a single pointed devotion. See, all our sadhana should become totally integrated with our life, and our sadhana should become something which we do for 24 hours. Means it should transform our life. It should be a way of our life itself. So in our heart we should keep that deep understanding of Ishvara. All our emotions should flow towards Ishvara. All our actions should be as a worship of that Ishvara. All the words which we utter, like the praise of Ishvara. Every person, every being we meet is like meeting that Ishvara. See, that is our teaching in our Shastra, and that has become integrated in our culture also. The Bharatiya culture, everything, the teachings of the Shastra got integrated with our way of living. The way we dress, the food which we eat, the festivals we celebrate, the rituals we do, everything, the teaching is integrated in this. Therefore, when we meet a person, we do namaskar to that person and say Ram Ram, Jai Shri Ram, Hari Om. So, we consider that person as Sakshat Bhagwan, who is residing in the heart of that person, and we do namaskar to that Bhagwan, because that Bhagwan alone is expressing through that body. Whatever defects which we see are of the body, of the mind, but that Bhagwan is same who is there present in the heart. There is no defect in Bhagwan. Just like gold and ornaments, there might be defect in the way the ornament is made, but the gold is same in all the ornaments. If we have the vision to see the gold, we will see it same everywhere. Similarly, one who has understood the real nature of Ishvara will be seeing his presence in each and every one. So, bhajanti ananya manasa, with ananyam manasaha, with a single pointed chitta, ananya chittaha, they worship that Ishvara. Worship means constantly remember Ishvara. Jnatva bhutadim avyayam. Who is that Ishvara? Bhutadim. Who is the very Adi, the very beginning of everyone and everything. Means very source of this whole creation. And who is present in everything. But who is changeless and formless. Avyayam. His presence present everywhere, but avyayam and apragata. Like in Ramayana, Tulsidas ji says, Hari Vyapak Sarvatra Samana. That Ishvara is Vyapak, Sarvatra Saman, is present everywhere homogeneously, but is apragat. But when we have that love for Ishvara, he becomes pragat. Premate pragata hoi mai jana. When we have that love, we can feel the presence of Ishvara in this world, in every being, in our own self also. So, Mahatmanastu mam partha daivim prakritim ashritaha bhajanti ananya manasaha jnatva bhutadim avyayam. So, bhajan is not only doing seva, but bhajan is also constantly remembering Bhagwan, constantly keeping him in our heart, never forgetting Him, deeply understanding His presence in the whole world, in ourselves. The more we practice this, the more we will start feeling the presence of Ishvara everywhere. So, bhajanti ananya manasaha jnatva bhutadim avyayam. So, how do these Mahatmas do this bhajan? How do they worship Bhagwan? What are the different ways in which they express their love? That is now said in the next verse. Bhagwan says, Satatam kirtayanto mam yatantascha dhridavrataha namasyantascha mam bhaktya nityayukta upasate. Bhagwan says, these Mahatmas, these seekers, these my devotees, how do they worship me? Satatam kirtayanto mam. They constantly do my kirtan. They glorify me. They sing my glories. Sarvada Bhagvantam Brahmasvarupam Kirtayantaha. They sing my glories. Who am I? That Brahma. That Supreme Brahma, Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. They constantly sing my glory, glorify me. Kirtayantaha. In every action, in every event, they see the glory of Ishvara. In every person they meet, in every object they see the glory of Ishvara. Just like the gopis used to see. They used to see Krishna everywhere. They used to see the glory of Krishna everywhere. Like those great saints and sages, they see in the whole world the presence of Ishvara. हर देश में तू, हर वेश में तू, तेरे नाम अनेक, तू एक ही है. In every place, in every form, Bhagwan is there. The same Bhagwan is there everywhere. So, Satatam Kirtayanto Mam Yatantascha Dhridavrataha. And with firm resolve, they worship Ishvara. Indriya Upasamhara Shama Dama Daya Ahimsadi Lakshanaihi Dharmaihi Prayatantaha. With following the values of controlling our mind, controlling our senses, having that compassion in our heart, following the value of non-violence, with firm resolve, these devotees, they worship Ishvara. Dhridavrataha. Namasyantascha mam bhaktya, doing namaskar to me, seeing my presence in the world, they do namaskar to me. See, we do namaskar when we go to the temple. We do namaskar when we meet a elderly person or our teacher. But these devotees see the presence of Ishvara in everything and everyone, and they have this namaskar bhavana in their heart. भगवान को नमस्कार सब रूप में सब जगह देखकर भगवान को नमस्कार करते हैं. नमस्यन्त्यश्च माम भक्त्या. See in Bhagavad, Bhakta Prahlad, he talks about Navvidha Bhakti. And in that Navvidha Bhakti, this Namaskar Bhakti or Vandana of Bhagwan, is also one of the bhakti. Namaskar. From that namaskar only that word namaz also has come. To do namaskar to Bhagwan constantly, seeing his presence in everything, do namaskar. When we do namaskar, it is like surrendering to that Ishvara. That having that total humility and total devotion for Ishvara. And even this what you call this mudra of namaskar helps to create that feeling of sharanagati in our heart. So we do namaskar to Bhagwan. Namashyantescha mam bhaktya nitya yukta upasate. And the most important, they are nitya yukta, remaining constantly tuned to Bhagwan, maintaining that understanding of Bhagwan in the heart. They do the upasana. भगवान को भूलना नहीं चाहिए. Even for a second we should not forget Bhagwan. While doing all our work, while interacting in this world, we should keep our attention on Bhagwan constantly. Keeping attention, keeping totally tuned to Bhagwan is the most important aspect of this upasana. भगवान को अपने ध्यान में रखो हर वक्त, उनको भूलना नहीं. It's very beautiful stotra, Shiva Aparadha Kshamapana Stotram, where Shankaracharya ji has written that, where he asks for forgiveness from Bhagwan. That, oh Bhagwan, please forgive me, I forgot you. That is my greatest aparadha, greatest sin, that I forgot you. When did you forget me? Oh, when I was in my mother's womb, I forgot you. When I was born, I was so involved, a little child, and crying, weeping and all, I forgot you. But later on, as I was growing, I got involved in playing and just indulging with this world, and I forgot you. Then I became a youth. Again I started indulging in different types of pleasures and all, I forgot you. So he tells how he forgot Bhagwan, and please he asks for forgiveness. कि कर चरण कृतं वा कायजं कर्मजं वा श्रवण नयनजं वा मानसं वा अपराधम विहितम अविहितम वा सर्वमेतत् क्षमस्व. जय जय करुणाब्दे श्री महादेव शंभो. Please forgive me. So remembering Ishvara all the time, and that itself is the main aspect of bhajan, singing his glories with a firm resolve in our heart, doing namaskar to him in different who is expressing in different forms, in different beings. So in this way, the Mahatmas, they worship Ishvara. More about this we will see in our class tomorrow. So till then you contemplate on this and worship that Ishvara. Remember him all the time. Remembering him is the most important. Remember him with all his glories. Remember all his mahima. And worship him. Till then you take care, be happy, safe, peaceful, and we will meet again tomorrow. Hari Om. Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram. 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 Jaya Jaya Ram. Jaya Jaya Ram. बोलिए सियावर रामचंद्र भगवान की जय. ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते. ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः. हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः. हरिः ॐ.